assignments. Unfortunately, this year we didn't have the assignment test, although we got ready for that. So we have 2 take-home assignments and past papers. 2019, 2018, likewise, we can go back and get ready with the papers. So we want all of your support, cooperation, because in fact, I like to have a chat, I mean, face-to-face session and discuss and do all these things because that's life. In strategy, that's what I believe, strategic management. But due to the prevailing situation in the country, in the world and all, it is more safe to get into this mode. Okay, if you have any questions, any difficult areas you want me to clarify, please. Okay, then shall we get into the second assignment that we have? Give me a second. I'm sharing one document. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I believe all of you have answered this one. It starts with this is a case study, case given, case in the sense scenario. Uh, uh, we got it from the source is also given. You can see Forbes. Forbes have a lot of stories, a lot of strategic moves. So this is one of them. So the questions are basically based on Michael Porter's 5 forces industry analysis model. This goes with initial, the question is on explain Michael Porter's 5 forces model and why strategists use the model in strategy formulation process. Why do we want 5 forces model? Where do we apply it? This in environmental analysis, isn't it? External and internal. And when you look at external, we look at task environment and society. Here we used to look at best factors. Here, what we look at in the task environment, we have our customers, suppliers, competitors, right? Likewise, with whom the immediate people with whom we are dealing with. So to analyze this task environment, we can use Michael Porter's 5 forces industry analysis model. So here we have to exactly say this is part of environmental scanning and why we want it. Yes, if we do a strategy without considering this external environment part, it's not going to take place anywhere. We will not be able to move forward. So what is our move? Identify suitable strategies. But to identify suitable strategies, we have to know our internal environment and external environment. External environment, when you look at that external environment, we have to look at the macro environment as well as task environment. On the task environment, the most comfortable form of analyzing that is Michael Porter's 5 forces industry model. There, it explains whether we should go in, whether we should not go in, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, what is the answer? Yes. First, we have to identify. We have to explain Michael Porter's 5 forces model, and ideally, it should be explained with suitable diagram. 5 forces you can write. Bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of customers or buyers, threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes, and industry rivalry. So this is the basic model. We have to draw that because as soon as we put them in illustration with an illustration, you are convincing the examiner that you know. In our system, especially at the Department of Management Studies and especially in give me a second. There are a few members who want to join. We are not reluctant to give marks as long as students say something that they know. That is what we want to know. We are not going to see what are the things that they don't know. We want to see what they know, and the most important part is if you are creative, yes. If you are good, none of our examiners are going to give you what you call restricted marks. 100 is available, and I am ready to give more than that as well, more than 100. That is also possible, isn't it? Even though mark sheet cannot take it, if there is something what we expect as 100, and if somebody is more than that, why shouldn't we, isn't it? There can be very, very, very good answers, extremely good answers. So we are not reluctant in giving more than that as well. I mean, we'll identify which stars. Okay. So why I said was when you start explaining things, basically think of giving it in an illustration, small diagram, and try to explain it. You will find it comfortable to explain it, as well as the person who is in the other side is also find it very comfortable to understand. So that is what is required. So make sure that you do that and explain thereafter. Not only for this question, wherever possible. Small sketch will make lot of comforts. You know, but why we use tables? Why do we want to use tables? Yes, rather than using 1,000 words, table can speak so many things. Then you can extract things and explain. So that is the most convenient way. So we'll follow that. We'll do that. Okay, right. Explain the Michael Porter's five forces model and why strategists use model in strategy formulation process. So let me share another document. So this is not a comprehensive answer, but I am just taking this for us to discuss. So I didn't put the diagram here, right? Suppliers. Who are suppliers? Who are supplying our raw material and semi-finished products and whatever that are required for our production line. Okay. So with that, what is supply bargaining power? What happens if they can bargain? What is the scenario if they cannot bargain, and then what will happen to us? In which scenario they cannot bargain? If there are a large number of suppliers, they will find it difficult to come and bargain with you. Why? Bargaining for what? Bargaining for price, bargaining for level of service, bargaining for delivery schedules, quality. They might simply come and tell you, I'm sorry, we cannot give you this, the products of this standard. We can give, instead of that, we will give you this one. Okay. Delivery schedules as well. What can we do? If we have only one or two suppliers, we are stuck. We cannot. We'll find it very difficult to bargain with them. Why? Why? In that case, they might demand extra money. Prices may be different. On the other hand, if there are a large number of good or quality suppliers, then what will happen? Quality suppliers. Yes, we don't have to worry. If he cannot do it, we'll look at the market and find another one. So, for example, if you want to buy tiles from a particular person, and if the person says, sorry, මාත්‍යා මේ වෙලාවේ නම් එවන්න බෑ. අපිට මේ බල්ට් එක එවන්න මාස දෙකක් යනවා. So we cannot provide this quality stuff. What do? We simply walk into the next place, isn't it? That is the scenario. One other example. You want something to drink. You thought, say you are at a outstation place and you like to drink something else, not water. You prefer some cool drink, and for this case, you prefer Coca-Cola. If Coke is not available, what do? If Coke is not available, what do?
finding other substitute.
Exactly, exactly. We are not going to die for that, isn't it? We simply get the alternative. If Coke is not available, very rarely a person will go for the same brand, and if it is not available, it's not going to uh, consume it. No, simply uh, we look at that and see what is available and take it. So sometimes there can be substitutes. So there can be substitutes. So if prices of butter is very high, I mean this is a very common thing. Prices of butter is very high, or then we might, or if it is not available in the market, then we might look at various other forms of substitutes. And when you look at substitutes, don't ever think of that substitute has to be the same way. I believe all of you have read the article that we shared, HBR, Harvard Business Review article that we shared, all done, but very valid for even for today on Theodore Levitt's article that we have shared. There, what we have done is there what this is on marketing myopia. What we want to see is not only if the efficiency, but we have to look at the other parts, other aspects as well. Among them is there can be different forms of competition. So if people want transport, trains are not the only solution for them. There are range of solutions available, and when some people forget that we are providing transport, then they are in trouble. This sometimes happens. Sometimes these things happen. Why? End of the day, they don't know what they are doing. They define their product, their company in a very narrow way. Narrowly. But basically what we see is look at the area in a broad manner. Rather than we are in transport, we are providing transport through private buses, AC coaches. How do you like it? But do people want air conditioned coaches? No. What they want, what? Transport. What sort of transport? That the customer will decide. Say if it is from Colombo to Matra, Colombo to Viliatta, there are various forms of transport modes are available. Customer will decide what to buy. So if you are narrowed down your the business strategy, especially in the case of mission statement, then you are in trouble. Okay, I'm just deviating in this area. So when you write your mission statement, it has to be broad enough to capture everything and to open your eyes and see the market, see the environment. So this is where things come handy. Substitutes. So when substitutes are there, bargaining power of supplier will not be high. If more substitutes, bargaining power goes down. Okay, switching cost is another one. What is switching cost? It's like maybe a relationship, maybe credit terms, right? There are so many the modes that, or sometimes maybe the nature of the product that we have already served. So the product is known to the customer, and he or she doesn't have to. The company don't need to change the settings. Say for example, when you supply certain raw materials, the raw material cannot be straight away fed into the system, because as per the properties of the raw material, there can be certain needed adjustments needed in the manufacturing process. For example, many of you know how to do cooking and all, but when you change brands, you know what will happen, right? The amount of ingredients that you have to put into the used in cooking needs change. Sometimes certain the ingredients cannot be added at the very beginning. They might have to be added at a later stage of cooking, of processing food. If you add in the beginning, the taste won't be there. But if you stick to a uniform product, then you know exactly how it behaves, and you don't have to do research every time. So you can go ahead with that. So that is the switching cost sometimes, or maybe credit terms. Or you don't have to explain everything to the customer, sorry, the supplier. This is how we want it. This is the container that we want it. Likewise. Or sometimes there can be suppliers with whom you have partnered. You have become partners for research. For your requirement, the person prepares stuff, manufactures stuff. How do you like it? Yes, if you look at automobile manufacturers, especially Japan, do you think Toyota Motor Corporation manufactures all their light bulbs or the headlights? No. Headlights are manufactured by the headlight manufacturer. And headlight manufacturer is not simply manufacture it and give it to them. No. With Toyota research and development team, these headlight manufacturers get together and develop light bulbs for them. Similarly, the windscreen manufacturers. It is not that Toyota is going to buy the windscreen available with the windscreen manufacturer. No. So they are partners for business. So in that case, bargaining power of suppliers are high. With much understanding, some people become partners. So when bargaining power of suppliers are high, then companies might find the entering into this change in prices. All these things are tied up with that. So it may not be very, very lucrative. So when you enter into a business, if you find bargaining power of suppliers are low, yes, then we can play in the market freely. What about bargaining power of customers? How much customers can impose pressure on margins and profit margins and volumes? Okay, simply that. Sometimes companies have to succumb to the customers. If there are only one or two customers, then what will happen? I'm sorry, there are a few chats. Yeah, you want many of them have put to discuss past papers. Okay, I'll rush through this one, the assignment. Then the about bargaining power, what we have to do is we have to try to minimize bargaining power of customers as much as possible, and that is more lucrative area. When it comes to the threat of new entrants, if there are more competitors coming in, more investors coming into the area, yes, it's going to be a problem for us. Why? Yes, it will increase the competition. That will increase the competition. We don't want to happen that. We want to see that we want to play in an area where there are not very many competitors. So can you remember we discussed certain things like blue ocean strategy and red ocean strategy? Right? we always try to find blue oceans, not very many customers. Sorry, not very many competitors. Clean waters, no fighting, threat of new entrants. Okay, so sometimes how we create threat of new entrants, economies of scale, in high initial investments, the person will find it very difficult to enter into the market. Customers are brand loyal, likewise, and switching costs. So that is why you would have seen many supermarkets are doing this. Loyalty cards, airlines are doing it. Frequent flyer programs. Get more and more loyal customers, and sometimes try to develop affiliation with customers with so many strategies, so many tactics. Then next comes the threat of substitutes. What do you do? How to get in? If there are more substitutes in the market, yes, then our possibility of going ahead with this one is very stifled or limited. Okay. Next comes is the competitive rivalry among competitors, existing players. So, as we discussed earlier, there can be certain industries with high competitive rivalry. There people find the industry is not lucrative if competitors are fighting each other. So if it is to reduce price, everybody will come and attack with you. You cannot simply raise your prices. Others are looking at it. You cannot follow any strategy, any tactic in the market. Others follow it. So rival is very high. So if there are many players about the same size, it's a problem. And if the competitors have similar strategies, they follow the same, then you have difficulties. You will find difficulties, right? So we'll discuss these things. The next question is, explain how you determine the attractiveness of an industry environment for an organization. How do you look at it? So you look at profitability, efficiency, effectiveness, all these things. For your industry, how this is good, whether it is attractive. So you look at all the factors that we discussed under Michael Porter's 5 forces model: task environment, as well as societal environment, macro environment, external factors. Then using SWOT, you can determine what are the strategies that you can go. So part C, describe the forces and their respective competitiveness for Altria. We are getting into the scenario given this one. This is the same case that we have given last year for the final examination, but the questions are a bit different. Right? Describe the forces and their respective competitiveness for Altria management to determine whether to make further investment in this company. Are you with me? Now, this is not to simply ask, explain the case, pulling down the Farras from this case and so on and so forth. No. Describe the forces, their respective competitiveness. So now, in theory part, we have identified certain cases, certain scenarios. So this is the practical application of that part. Okay. Now we have to determine whether with a view to what is our objective, to identify or to make recommendations for the company, whether to make further investments. What should the board of directors in this company should do? Should they invest further or not? To be successful, they must promote brand equity. So these are coming from this the case. Anticipate and respond to new evolving adult consumer preferences. What are these preferences? Are they going for cigarettes or smoking, or are they leaving? See, and the flavors, they have described certain flavors, mints and all. Mind you, in this case, keep in mind that this is taking place in US. US in certain parts of US undergoes four seasons, unlike in Sri Lanka. Autumn, winter, summer, all these things are there. Okay. So there we have to see what are the consumer preferences. Develop, manufacture, market and distribute new and innovative products. Can they do that? With a view to get adult consumers. And we have seen in the case itself, it says uh, different forms of smoking, getting nicotine, smokeless or e-cigarettes. And rest is productivity that we look at so that we can increase our profit margin, protect or enhance margins through cost savings and price increases. Right? Margins by way of cost savings, or margins can be improved by price increases. So keeping in mind is, now you can write an answer. There we have to look at strength of 5 forces, comparative forces. Okay, this is how we look at it. Express your opinion on those. Supplier power, bargaining power of suppliers. Can suppliers increase their price? Now, what happened to for cigarettes? The main source of the major raw material is tobacco, cigarette tobacco, and they want the certain types of tobacco, and they do the blending, and then it goes for forming cigarettes. The other parts are the cigarette filters as well as the paper that is used for wrapping the cigarette. So what is the bargaining power? So what is given in? Now what happened to the market? Suppliers market. How competitive it is. Now it is open market. Not controlled by anybody. Okay. Buyer power. Can they accept your price? Can they? Right? Then competitive rivalry. So who are the competitors and what are the competitor moves at this moment? You know, now what they are doing at the moment is the major competitors are getting together, joining with foreign investors. Now what is going to happen? A lot of money is going to come in. So joining the companies together, several companies together, can lead to difficulties. Yes, why? They can form strong the competitive forces in the system. Threat of substitutes. What about e-cigarettes? Okay. Threat of new entrants. Is it possible in tobacco industry? What is Sri Lanka? Can a new person come into Sri Lankan tobacco industry? In my opinion, it's very difficult. Why? With the government taxes and moves towards getting away from, taking people away from cigarettes. Now you find the market is going down, as well as so many health hazards and the health ministry campaigns and all these things have reduced the consumption. So as a result of that, now what is happening? Number of people who smokes, as well as social smoking and everything has gone down. And on the other hand, for this industry, you need a lot of money to get into cigarettes manufacturing, as well as to enter into the market. Can you simply enter into the market? No. There has to be certain amount of distribution channels. You cannot simply manufacture cigarettes and start distributing it. So that means that requires huge amount of money. Okay. So what is the alternative? We have to have a good distributor network. That's how people do. And end of the day, we have to enter into the retailers, the retailers' racks or cupboards. How strongly can you do it? That is the issue. So we have to read the case, and from the case, we have to identify these components and explain what is given in the case. Okay, and then express your opinion. Express your opinion on what management of Altria should do. And when a strategist gives a strategy recommendation, he has to give reasons. He has to convince the other party, this is why I say so. Okay. So in this case, you cannot, you might not find any good answer or bad answer, or correct or wrong answer. Everything depends on how you argue on it, how you support the answer. And friends, in this case, since we have provided you limited information, through that limited information, you can make decisions. And with your knowledge, with your creativity, you can identify suitable strategies and then recommendations and support your recommendation. So that is what is required in these cases. So there can be several opinions. So these are some things that some of you have answered. Introducing herbal cigarettes, right? E-cigarettes, introducing e-cigarettes. But your opponent is coming in. Improving quality, right? Now, advertising channels have restricted. Now you have to find innovative ways and which will not create you to go to courts. In Sri Lanka, the liquor and tobacco, even in Sri Lanka, tobacco and liquor, there are restrictions. If you take a pack of cigarettes, you can see the photographs and so many things, the prints that comes as a warning to the smoker. Okay. So there are so many strategies, but need your justification for this. Okay. Target new markets, increase market share. Okay. Increase research and development to identify gaps they have to fill up in the industry. Cigarettes for different occasions, different times of the day, the morning, the night, the daytime. Okay. So these are the things that you have to look at. Okay, now friends, could you get ready with the final exam paper? (2019) final examination took place in January 2020. How was it?
It's okay, sir.
Is it okay? That's my document. So again, you will find the same article used, different questions, and this is the basic type of question paper that you for the final examination. Case study plus certain other questions, and many of the times the case study is compulsory. Chris, I got a problem with sharing the document. What happened is, friends, when I click on sharing the screen, I cannot see the document. Well, everything is gone. Only whiteboard and some other thing is shown. I don't know what had happened. Well, it was everything. The documents that I have made available was there. Okay, what shall I do in time? Friends, can you see the certain part of the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
Read the above.
Yes.
So I'm using a different technique for this, right? I'm sorry, I cannot share the entire document. Okay, read the above article that is on Altria of Michael Porter's five forces model and attempt the following. So the case study itself is application of Michael Porter's five forces model. So that's why I give more emphasis into this one. Explain why strategists use Michael Porter's five forces model. Describe the level of success of the above description as per your view. The marks that is appearing here are not correct, right? Describe the level of success of the above description. So have they explain all the components of the Michael Porter's five forces model. And to arrive or to express an opinion, say for example, bargaining power of buyers or bargaining power of customers, is the description sufficient? What else do you want? Right? So there are two parts to this question. First part is five forces model. Second, for the five components of the model, will we have sufficient evidence to express our opinion? So that is what is required. Next is, since we have discussed this case, I'm not going to look into put more time onto this one. Describe the forces and their respective competitiveness if Altria wishes to invest further and expand the business. So sorry, for part A, you can take phrases from the area and explain if you want. This comes to this one. Describe the forces and their respective competitiveness. So for example, bargaining power of suppliers. Now you can explain the scenario what had happened. Earlier, the prices were constant, and the farmers were given certain subsidies, and they were to provide this to the companies at these rates. And the restrictions were there for farming, and these from the farmers, there are so many companies who wanted to buy tobacco from them. Now what happened? Later, things was the government withdrew from these regulations, and it became an open market for farmers. So there the farmers had to decide, what should I do, what sort of blends and brands, the brand or the types of tobacco that I have to prepare, who is going to be my customer. My customer is for the farmer, the tobacco manufacturers. So it became an open product, and there is a competition in the market for tobacco. They have to go and buy it. And if there is a big crop, farmers lose what you call their bargaining power. If the crop is less, then tobacco companies has to bear the brand. I mean, then the limited number of or limited amount of raw material, demand and supply. Then to fulfill the Altria's requirement, they have to go and bargain with the buyer, sorry, the supplier, and buy it. See what had happened with the happened to the bargaining power of suppliers. So the alternatives can be forward contracts, forward buying contracts. So develop a relationship, forward buying contracts, and then ask certain amount of farmers to grow and supply to Eritrea, and we are going to buy it at this price in future. Right? So those are the alternatives, those are the tactics or strategies people use. Identify threats and opportunities for Eritrea. The major threat, yes, we have seen about the market, customers. Among others are promotions, advertising. So there are certain cases, certain aspects given in the case. You can express your opinion. You have to see, you have to explain why it is a threat. The creative answers had something like, when you say the advertisements have been restricted in this case, now it is restricted for all the others as well. All the other tobacco companies as well. Okay. So for some, it's an opportunity. Why? New entrants find it very difficult to enter into the market because restrictions in promoting. New people cannot enter into the market because they will find it very difficult to promote their cigarettes. Okay. So then express your opinion on what the management of Altria should do. So same way, similarly, same question was the same question we discussed in the assignment. You have to give justifications. They should develop their R&D wing, research and development activities further. It's a good answer. Then for that you can give justifications. They know the market, they know the product, they have facilities. So put more effort on that. And on the other hand, it is not that difficult for Altria to this particular company to sell their products, because customers know the company, customers know these brands, familiar with it. So it's easy for them to promote whatever that they do, new products that they develop. Okay. Likewise, you have to give justifications and their financial strength, their market know-how, the team of experts in marketing, production, and everything is there. Okay. So that is about Altria and its strategies, market, competitive environment, and so on and so forth. And in this case, in the first paper, these are the instructions. Answer question 1 and 3 from the others. Okay. Answer should be methodical and focused to the question. Why it is asked is you cannot simply start telling everything under the topic if a question comes there. Just look at what the question is and what is asked. So whatever that you write beyond that or before that will not get you any marks or will not take you anywhere. So friends, make sure when you do it, you ask the correct question. You read, you understand the question correctly, and answer to the question really with its focus. Okay, and cite suitable illustrations and Sri Lankan example wherever possible, because in strategy, if you do not do it, it's a problem. Why? This is the easiest way that you can express your answer without much trouble. You can show that you know this topic, you know this area, you know the answer, and you are illustrating it with a good local example so that everybody will understand. Okay. So we have given why legible handwriting may cost marks is that, I mean, this is for communication, and at the final examination, communication technique is simply writing, and if it cannot be read, we won't. If it can be read, we read it. If we cannot read, I'm sorry, we are not in a position to give you marks. Those are basics. So question number 2 is the marks allocated in this side row, right? I mean, this is sample that I got down. Organization without a clear mission leads to directionless people associated with it. So simply, we are asking why we want a mission statement. Clear mission statement. Comment in the statement explaining salient features of a good mission statement and advantages of having a mission statement. So, as I told you, if you start developing an answer or writing an answer with strategic management process, everything, so it won't take you anywhere, those things. So straight away get into what is a mission statement. Okay. With a clear mission statement that leads to clear mission statement leads to directionless people. Is it clear to you? If people don't know where to go, they will do whatever that they like to do. What is an organization? Yes, organization is a collection of people working towards achieving a common goal. To do that, yes, we need a mission statement. We have to express what is a mission statement, what is the organization, and what is given therein. I'm sorry, I have a problem with sharing this one. Friends, give me a second. I'll close the session and come back. Right? There's a big problem creating this one. Yeah, we'll go by this way. Otherwise, if I leave out more, then all of us will have trouble. So the question is, without a clear mission, how can we move forward? Then we have to say what is mission, why we want mission. Then we have to explain key features of objectives. How does a short-term and long-term objectives help to achieve expected outcomes of a strategic plan? So these are the questions given this 16 marks given are wrong, right? 16 marks question. To address that, we have a mission statement. Why we want mission statement, and explain its key elements. What does it say? Declaration of all overall the vision, summation of managerial philosophical values about how they do business and treat employees, articulation of key organizational goals. Why we want it for the existence, and we have to tell what this company is doing, what is the purpose of existence of this organization. Why we want it is, it gives clear sense of direction and purpose. Okay, drives strategic decision making and resource allocations. If you don't have a mission statement, how can you allocate resources among various departments and divisions? Because everybody asks for resources, and resources are not freely available. They are scarce. So there should be a mechanism to allocate these, and that will be based on the direction the people get, and to achieve that, what they have to do. What is the role of HR people? What is the role of finance people? What is the role of marketing people? Right? IT people. So everybody, if they know their mission, yes, they know where to go. What has to be achieved, and for that, they'll find it comfortable to management will find it comfortable to allocate resources. Why? They know the purpose of this particular task. About strategic decision making, yes, they will find it comfortable. What sort of decision? What are the decisions, and why we want to take this decision? Forces the seeking of significant performance improvements to attain goals. Otherwise, they won't do it. Why? They will simply ask why we want to do it. So with a clear mission statement, everything is given to uh, people as a guide. This is your mission statement, and whatever that you do, whatever the decisions that you take, has to be to achieve that target. Ensures the vision statement ensures that all the decisions are made aligned with the organization's requirement. Requirement in the sense for the existence of the organization. So mission. So we start with the vision. It leads to mission statements, and then goes to goals and objectives. So all these things have to be aligned. If mission is to provide high quality stuff, and if you are doing something else like maximizing your market share, then it's going to be a problem. Okay, it's going to be a problem. So that is why we want to have have everything, goals, objectives, strategies, and everything aligned in one direction, and mission statement provides that as well. explain the key features of objectives. So we know what are the objectives, and when we want to address objectives, we use SMART, SMART. Specific, measurable, SMART. So that is what is required. You can simply get these marks without much trouble. Explain, you have to not just say simply specific, the word is specific, you have to specify what it is. Wherever possible, give a small example, and that's simply suffice what it is. Okay. I am browsing. So where are objectives explained? So under mission again, we have discussed certain things. Right? So keep in mind, every time this mission and vision, goals, objectives are common question. So please be ready with that area. What are goals? Goals are broad, generalized statements. But when it comes to objectives, it comes from a goal and has a specific meaning. More specific, quantifiable, and verifiable than a goal. Right? So when we discuss about goals, yes, these things are there. Specific, measurable, achievable, agreeable, or realistic, and with a time frame. And need to explain a little bit what is measurable, what is achievable, what is realistic, or what is relevant. Right? And if you look at the marks allocated for these questions, not very much. So you have to work out now. We have 180 marks for this minutes for this exam paper, for which you get 100 marks. So you look at the marks allocated for this one and determine how much you should answer. Okay, how much time you should allocate for this. Next comes is, how does short-term and long-term objectives help to achieve expected outcome of a strategic plan? So what are these long-term and short-term? So to start with that, you have to explain a little bit. Long-term objectives are objectives that will take a couple of years to fulfill. Short-term objectives, maximum frame is 1 year. Okay, that is what you have to specify. And then, now why we want objectives? Yes, now we have explained objectives. Now we have to say how objectives are going to help. We have mission statements, and to achieve the mission statement, we have to break it down into several components and look at the separate departments, divisions of the organization, and for each and every the division or department, we have to give objectives to achieve that mission. If objectives are not given, specified, then you will not be able to achieve the mission. This is escalated from the mission statement, and now we have given different objectives to fulfill in long term as well as short term. Long-term objectives are things that you want to achieve in the long run to achieve the mission statement, achieve the mission of the organization, to support the existence or the reasons for existence of this organization in this environment. Short-term objectives are derived from the long-term. To achieve long-term objectives, we have specified this and this and this and that. For example, if you want to have a good customer relationship with a customer care, then under short, under objectives, we have to have well-trained staff, customer responsive staff, so on and so forth. They have to be written in the form of objectives. Then for that, we have to have short-term objectives as well. For example, training. For example, training or maybe providing sufficient technology. Train employees how to respond to telephone calls. Short-term training, short-term objectives. How to talk to people, how to talk to customers, how to welcome, treat, and resolve problems. Okay, so that is how we move forward. That is about question 2. Question 3. Describe core competencies of an organization. Explain how the management of an organization can identify and maintain core competencies. Part B, describe competitive advantage of an organization. C, explain the learning organization and how a learning organization can improve the core competencies and competitive advantage of an organization. To discuss this, I have embedded this into a set of slides. What are core competencies? Where did I put it? I'm sorry, I have arranged everything. Unfortunately, the computer got stuck. Core competencies. What is our specialty? What is the specialty of our organization? What are we doing better than our other people, other competitors? The resources and capabilities that comprise the strategic advantage of a business. So in the lecture, we discuss how can we improve core competencies. Our specialty. Sometimes hotels, it may be the location, type of food served, or the ambience of the cafeteria, leisure rooms, activities. So if you don't exploit your core competencies, you are wasting. It's wasting your resources. Because there are, the example that we took was Mount Lavinia Hotel, about two aspects. One of food that they serve. Food that they serve are much more, attached to the Sri Lankan customers. What the Sri Lankan customers know, Sri Lankan people know, they are in line with their taste, so they do it better than others. They do it better than others. So that is their specialty, core competency. And further to that, maybe the location. Okay. Harmonized combination of multiple resources and skills that distinguish a firm from firm in the marketplace. That is why it is sought as one of the most highest demanded for receptions, highest demanded hotel for receptions. And the look of it, and so many things are there. So core competency can be derived through maybe coming from leadership styles, their specialty, organizational culture, the work culture. The work culture can be accommodating so many people, customers, customer care, and rapid response rate. Okay. IT applications. That is to capture. I mean, many organizations can capture data, but after capturing data, after collecting data, what do? You have to use it. You have to properly organize it, and we have to derive information from that. I know some organizations, whenever the customers comes in, they get their customer details and used to send greetings, and especially the hotel sometimes, especially for wedding couples and all, they used to send them uh, greeting cards in anniversaries. Some people birthdays are captured, and even from Mobitel and all, you will see you get birthday wishes and all. So similarly, many people, use this information technology to create more bonds with the customer. Right? Teamwork. People are not working in isolation, so it's very easy to work in the organization when teamwork is more. If the culture creates teamwork. What I say is, to respond to the customer is much easy, and to change, to anticipate change, to respond to change, teamwork is marvelous. Communication skills. So there are so many things you can see. That is for core competencies. What is competitive advantage? What we can do better than others. How? We may be looking at where our organization can do better than others. It may be sometimes certain organizations have to locate in certain areas. It may give you the natural environment that is conducive for this production. Either dryness or maybe cold environment. So that is why certain organizations are set up somewhere in the hilly countries. Hill country in Sri Lanka. And some factories are in Hambantota or Mana or somewhere like that. Utlam Chilau to get the competitive advantage. These factors allow the productive entity to generate more sales or superior margins compared to its market rivals. Simply they are getting it. that is to outperform their competitors. And for this competitive advantage, we have studied set of strategies defined by Michael Porter earlier. Cost, can you remember the Michael Porter's generic and differentiation strategies that we discussed? The model that we discussed. Right? Low cost strategies, differentiation strategies. Okay. So those are the strategies that we'll be looking at to get competitive advantage. Price, location, quality, range of products you offer, speed of delivery, level of service. Okay. Next is about learning organizations. What is a learning organization? Yes, company that facilitates learning of its members and continuously transform itself. Learning of members and transform the company. So that knowledge that they capture is shared. Okay. Enables organization to remain competitive in the business environment. So these three core competencies, competitive advantage, and learning organizations are going in tandem. Learning organization, how a learning organization can improve the core competencies and competitive advantage of an organization. You have to tell what learning organization is and how it can get core competencies. If you have core competencies through learning culture, you should be able to nurture it. Give more support. For competitive advantage, for the core competencies, it may be application of IT. So learning organization learn from the experiences and improve IT applications. Improve teamwork. Leadership styles are derived, improved. Likewise, we have to explain. Okay? You don't have to put everything there, everything that I tell you here, but you should be able to sell yourself, right? Sell yourself, telling these are the factors that we are going to improve using learning organization. For this, learning organization can be a base or good tool for us to improve our core competencies. So, for example, if there is a person, if you are very good in engineering parts, mechanical, or maybe food preparation, food processing. So you get feedback from your customers. So who gets the feedback? Your marketing people. And it should be shared. Whatever they say, goods and bads, good and bad things about your product. The way customers feel when they come and buy it, when they consume it, when they come to your organization, what they feel. Whenever there are things to be improved, you should be able to improve. So that is a learning organization. That is a learning organization culture. So there, you should be able to nurture your all these departments. Say, for example, if they come and complain you about, certain hospitals, private sector hospitals, everything is fine and up to billing. When the patient is discharged, how long does the hospital take to release the patient, prepare the bill and settle the bill and discharge the patient? It takes a lot of time. Once the doctor says, okay, now you can go home, the patient and everybody is willing to go home. But if it takes 4 to 6 hours to do the billing part in the hospital, how do you like it? So that's nightmare, right? So in the learning organization, you learn it from the customers, you learn it from the complaints, you learn it from empathizing with them, then create all these things. So first, IT applications. So why it takes such a lot of time? So everybody in the organization get together and develop this. So that end of the day, we want to see that best customer service from our organization, from this hospital, from this hotel, from this cafeteria. So you can improve core competencies based on that. So to improve that, sometimes it may be training, it may be learning. Okay. Next comes to the competitive advantages. How learning organizations can improve or provide facilities for improving your competitive advantage. So competitive advantage is there, but if you ignore it, if you are not going to capitalize on it, it's not going to make sense for you. So there, learning organization can try to can improve the specialty of this organization. For example, speed of customer responsiveness, speed of delivery. When a customer comes and asks for a product or food, or if it is a cafeteria, how quickly can you process it? How quickly can you process it? That matters. If we go to that particular hotel or that is particular cafeteria, it takes 2.5 hours to prepare food and send it to us. If it is 1 hour, do you like to have it? No. Whatever the excuse that they give is not your problem. Right? It's not the problem of the customer. It is the organization. So if they have earned a good name about ambience, the cleanliness, and everything about the hotel, about serving the customer, then learning organization can share, in a learning organization can, all these employees can share their experiences and improve on it. How to serve food, how to maintain the what you call cafeteria or the eating area clean, neat and all. Okay. Strategy implementation requires different types of skills than what is required for strategy formulation. Question 4. Strategy implementation and strategy formulation. So what is the specialty? So you should know what is formulation and what is implementation. So express your opinion on the above statement, elaborating on the activities involved in formulation and implementation. That is what is required. What is the statement? It says the strategy implementation required different types of skills than formulation. So what is strategy formulation? Basically, strategy formulation is a desktop activity. You sit with a computer with a couple of people, you try to identify, carry out an environmental scanning, identify what your organization doing, the mission statement, and see with the external environment and internal environment your mission is okay, right? So this is what you want to achieve. Then you try to identify what are the new trends, what is the trends in the external environment, and you assess your capabilities, that is strengths and weaknesses. How can we achieve? So, and then having your knowledge on the various models of strategy formulation, your theory, your experience and everything, you can formulate strategies. These are the strategies that we want to achieve, right? The objective to achieve these objectives, these are strategies that we are suggesting. Now, when we identify strategies, suitable strategies, to make it work, next step is we have to implement strategies. Now, strategy formulation part doesn't need a lot of people skills. I mean, to work with people. Certain information you have to derive from them is fine. Rest is you have to see that these strategies are implemented. How do we implement strategies? We have to walk into the workflow, talk to people, and implement. You cannot implement it unless otherwise your people support it, isn't it? It is the people who has to do the work, people in the organization. It is your skill to get the work done from these people. So it requires different set of skills. Earlier it was analytical skills, skills to collect data, skills to your knowledge, skills to apply the scenario with your knowledge, and finally develop suitable strategies. When it comes to implementation, yes, then you have to say, what about this leadership style? Is it required to change it at the macro level? Right? If we are going for any form of defensive strategy, will it going to work? If you are going for a diversification strategy, sometimes you might need, with the diversification strategy, there might be a need for changing the organizational structure. How can you do it? Introducing new technology. It is not going to work if you don't do your homework. Homework is you have to go and talk to your people working in the organization, and implement it through people in the organization. Okay? With their support, with their cooperation, and of course you have to sell your idea to various managers in different stratas of the organizational hierarchy, get their blessing, get their support, and there can be various leaders in the organization, informal leaders. People who are very conversant, who can get the work done from others, and so you can see how power is distributed in the organization. Get their support. So you can see this is a practical component. You have to go to the ground level and do the work. Work statement and explain these activities, how they are different. Explain how the top management of an organization ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of strategies implementation process. Your answer should describe information required for the said task and activities involved in strategic control. So this is basically asking strategic control, strategy review and control. So what is effectiveness? Efficiency. So what we have to address is, we have identified objectives, we have a strategic plan, For that, we have identified tasks in it, different tasks. We have given time frames. Okay, so this is the strategic plan. By this time, we want to make purchase orders for this. Say if we want to change certain amount of technology, certain types of technologies. So equipment has to be identified, purchased, installed. So similarly, we have to train our people, right? Train our formula, change our formulations even. Sometimes we need more space, different types of raw material. So if it is different types of raw material and all, if we are changing it, then we have to have raw material supplies. We have to have a chat with these suppliers. All these things have to be in line. Okay. Now, in the strategy implementation process, from time to time, we need information. Most of the information are quantitative in nature. Accounting information plays a very good role. Very good role. And there we have to identify what are the suitable measures that we can use to assess the efficiency. Effectiveness, we can check with the customers, we can talk to our internal people, whether things are going on as we planned. If there are deviations, we have to address those. Efficiency, similarly, we can see what are the resources, how much we have spent, what is the return that we are getting. So for this, we need the profitability ratios. So these are the tools that we use. What happened to our sales? Has the sales gone up? Has the what do you call the customers customer responses, customer complaints, have they gone down? So that is how we look at this strategy implementation part. Should describe information required for the task. So accounting information, marketing information, sometimes about people, right? It may be staff turnover ratios. Has the staff turnover gone up? Staff complaints, number of accidents have gone down. So things like that. Okay. So that is about question number 4. Question number 5 is short answers. I have only a couple of minutes. Now here, straightforward short answers you have to provide. Need for certain toes for strategy. So you have to explain what is certain toes and why we want it. Okay. SOTWIT for environmental scan, that is to understand the internal and external environment and the trends. TOS is to identify strategies using the outcomes of a SWOT analysis, environment analysis. So when we have a SWOT, good SWOT, to identify suitable strategies, we use this technique called TOS. We develop a TOS matrix, and through that we know SO strategies, ST strategies, WO, WT strategies we can identify. International market entry concerns compared to doing business locally. So when you enter into international markets, what do you find? What are the facilities? What are the difficulties, restrictions, additional jobs that you have to do? Likewise, you have to address. Okay, friends, we are coming to the last few minutes of this one. So for the next day, please get take the 2018 paper and have your answers sketched there. Short answers, at least in the question paper itself, write your short answers. Because my talking won't do. So next day we will discuss things. It's not me who is going to tell you. I want you to give the answers openly, and that is going to make more fruitful what you call session. So that is in December. So at the same time, 2018 and 2017 papers, please try them, refer to the material, and have short answers ready for that, so that it will be more fruitful for you and me. And similarly, the question number 5, and as well as even in this question paper, if you have any difficulty, anything you want me to clarify, any difficult sections in the material or the presentation that we did, have them ready so that we can have the discussion. Okay, friends, then thank you very much. So next time we like to have a more dialogue, okay?
Thank you,
Not
sir.
one-way communication.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Stay safe, be safe, and follow the health ministry guidelines so that we want to
Thank
see
you, sir.
everybody's
Thank you,
improvement.
sir.
So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.